It's hard because I never know when I'm actually live and when I'm not. So pull it up. All right. I think we're live.
All right.
Maybe. All right. Well, thanks for joining us, guys. And if you're just tuning in, we will give you a couple seconds here. I'm going to pull up this. We might give people a couple more seconds just to get on there. I'm going to pull it up on my phone too. That way, if people are asking questions, we can see that. The first one I did of these, I didn't even do that. And so people, if they ask questions, I had no idea until the end. So because I had shared screen the whole time, so I couldn't.
Oh, yeah. You learn as you go.
Learn as you go.
Yep.
This is the whole learning experience.
We're learning right along with you, so no worries.
Yes. Also wouldn't let me tag you guys in the, usually it lets me tag. Like all day today, I tried to tag you guys and it was being all finicky.
Wouldn't let you? That's funny.
I'm trying again here. Got it. All right. All right. Well, thanks, guys. We'll get started here. We are here. We are doing this week's webinar is on the home building process. So thanks for everyone who's tuning in. And as you guys jump in, super excited to have Josh and Lacey here, who are part owners of Olive and Oak Homes, who I've had the pleasure to work with here recently. And yeah, looking forward to what's to come with them as well. But great people, know a lot about just the home building process in general. You guys want to go ahead and jump in, just introduce yourselves and just discuss a little bit about who you guys are and how long you've been in the business or how long you've been doing this, and just
so I'm Lacey and this is my husband Josh, and he's been in the construction world for close to 15 years. And we went out on our own almost a year ago. So we do a lot of commercial building, apartments, strip malls, tenant improvements. And then we have home building too. And that's kind of where we just get to like love on people and help them have a space that they can call their own that is functional and that serves their family well. So we're excited that we get to do that together and work together. And I stay home with the girls. They go to a hybrid school, so they go 2 days a week. Obviously not since COVID, they haven't been. They've been online at home, but they go 2 days a week, and then we homeschool the other 3 days. So that allows flexibility in our schedule. And then before I stayed home with them, I was a teacher, and design and just like organizing spaces and making spaces functional has always been a passion of mine. Ever since I was a little girl, I was always organizing and decorating. So it's just a passion of mine. I love to do it, and I love to serve people in that way. So
it's a good passion to have.
Yeah.
The opposite.
And sometimes if you live with me though, it's not fun because you're like, oh, shoot, Mom reorganize the kitchen again.
Yeah.
Where did everything go? But yeah, Josh and I grew up in the Ankeny area. We both went to Ankeny High School. We were high school sweethearts. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, it's a little bit about us.
Yeah. Well, great. I think just for you, those that are watching, the one thing that really enjoy about these two is just their true care for their clients and always having the best interest for them, and just truly like watching them just even talk about the process is fun. Just watching them light up and the way they truly care and interact with clients and potential clients and stuff like that's pretty cool. So we're gonna kind of the sorry, I'm checking making sure comments and stuff like that. But yeah, so kind of the structure of this, we're just going to go through and kind of like a question and answer type session. So I get quite a few questions about the home building process. Josh and Lacey do as well. So we just kind of wanted to hit on some of the most frequently asked questions and just some of the most important things to know when going into the home building process. So I'm going to stop sharing that. And then, to start, let's talk about someone who is thinking about building. Like, how do people get started if someone wants to build a home? Kind of what's the first step in that process, and what's the process kind of look like from there?
Yeah, I think if you're thinking about building a new home, I think one of your first steps is to look at, do you have a real estate agent? Do you have an area in town that you're interested in? Do you have a home style, ranch, two-story? What are your wants and needs? What's your price point? These are all going to be questions on our first meeting to you. So have thought about those.
I think as far as your area goes too, like we ran into, Ethan, with some clients, like they wanted to live in a certain area, but then they didn't want the square footage. They didn't want their house to be as big as the covenants required for square footage. So just kind of determining yourself, like, do you want to educate yourself on those things? If you don't, find a realtor who will help you and take that, lead for you on those things. But the better you can be prepared before knowing what you want and why you want that, and be prepared to answer those questions, the smoother the process goes.
Yeah. Yeah, that's great. And I know one thing that we'll kind of hit on, but just one thing you'd mentioned to us earlier was just being honest about what your wants and needs up front to your builder. Because I can only imagine when you say your budget's one thing and then you get into it and you're like, maybe this isn't what I wanted. So I think.
Yeah, for sure. Be honest. And I'm not afraid to ask the question like, hey, what's your all-in budget? And sometimes people are like, whoa, like you're asking about money, but like, we're going to have that relationship. And if we don't know what you can afford, that kind of, that can make it challenging. So like, I'm not asking because we want to know, like, be all up in your business or whatever, but like, we do need to know, like, what do you want to spend? Because at the end of the day, we don't want to be over your budget and have you be unhappy. So,
and it's a relationship that goes from pre-build through the build and on to that warranty period. And so this could be a lengthy relationship, and so being honest about it is going to be the best way.
So I would say too, like, interview builders, interview people who have worked with them in the past, like get to know people before you just pick someone. Make sure they're a good fit for you. And as a builder, we're interviewing just as much as the clients are interviewing us, we're interviewing them. Like, is this going to be a good fit and a good relationship? So,
because you're talking from start to finish. I mean, and we'll get into this, but from the initial conversation to the warranty, through the warranty period, that can easily be 24 to 30 months of time. So it's very important to obviously get along and be paired up with a builder. That it's not like buying a resale home where you never even talk to the seller or never talk to the person. You're talking to them on a daily basis. And so I think that's key very key to what you said there. So that's great. Thanks for sharing that. I guess kind of on to my next thing, timeline. So if someone's wanting to build a home, say they're ready to pull the trigger now, kind of give us a basic timeline of, obviously weather dependent is a big thing, time of the year and stuff, but kind of walk us through a basic start to finish timeline.
So I think there's really two phases. There's kind of the first phase is getting that lot picked out, plan picked out, price point, getting that purchase agreement in. And that's like it could be a 6 to 8 week period there that takes. And then what we call, is the build process is from the time you dig to when you move in. And we say that usually runs 4 to 6 months. Depends on the build, depends on the weather. But it really is crucial. Those 4 to 8 weeks before the build really help the build go smoothly. Help the stress level of everybody involved to just be down and to have that process be an enjoyable.
Yeah, we are finding at Olive and Oak, we really like to take that time at the beginning, one, to just build the relationship with the client and really figure out what are their wants and needs, and to price out what they're wanting so they can see before we start. Obviously, we're all humans and there's no guarantee in this world, but as much as possible, say this is how much things are going to cost, because that just makes it clear for everyone at the beginning. We don't want to get to the end and be
Nobody likes surprises.
right. We don't want to be like, oh, and by the way, you're 15% over, what we told you were going to be. We don't want to be known for that as a builder at Olive and Oak. And if we were on the opposite side of that as a client, like we know everyone has a budget and, like other things they want to spend money on too. And so we just want to be respectful of that because we would want to be treated that way. And so we really just try to take that time at the beginning to just really know this is our price. And some people want us to throw out a price. And if it's a house we've built before, we kind of are knowing our pricing. But if you're asking for something that we haven't built before, it's really just best to say, hey, let's price that out for you.
Yeah. No, that's perfect. And we do have a question here on Facebook. What are things you would suggest people bring to their interviews of builders? So like if you're going to, if they were going to interview you guys or interview builders, what would be some different things that you would suggest?
From a design perspective, if you can bring me pictures of your front elevation of houses you like, if interior things, kind of your wants and needs list, those things always help generate a conversation of, are we the right fit for you? Is what you're thinking even in the right price point? Like, is that possible? Or do you need to hold off a little bit until you maybe can afford some more of those things? Or how could we make that work for you? So I would just say pictures and a list of your wants and needs from my perspective.
Yeah, and an example of some wants and needs would be how many bedrooms?
Yeah.
How many bathrooms? How do you want to use those bathrooms? Do you want them to be Jack and Jill? Do you want them to be, do you want 2 master suites or do you want finished basement? Do you need 2-story? Garage, is the garage really important? What are those? So if you could bring those along with, a realistic budget, or price that you're willing to be at, we're going to know in that first meeting if we're going to be a very good fit together. Or maybe there's another builder that would work out really well there. There's a lot of great builders in town.
Because there's certain price points or certain styles of homes where, other builder, depending on what you want, different builder fit different things. There's certain builders, when I think of certain types of homes, like different builders pop in your head and stuff like that.
Yeah, I would say that too. Like, before you even interview a builder, I think I said at the beginning, but like look at their past homes or look on their website and see their existing floor plans and front elevations. Like, is that kind of what you are thinking you want? Or, do you like that style? Because if not, then they may not be the best fit for you if that's not what they do, Yeah.
No, it's great.
Really, at Olive and Oak, being new, our goal for homes is to have comfort, craftsmanship, and curb appeal. So like we want, when you drive up to your home, we want you to be proud of the way that it looks. We want it to be classic and timeless, so that, 5 years, 10 years down the road, we're still proud to say, hey, that was an Olive and Oak home and you're still proud to live in it. So we really are focusing on what do our front elevations of our homes look like. I'm one as on the design, like I really like a lot of texture to the home. I just feel like it warms it up, gives it that timeless look. So that's kind of where I come from on that. And then just inside, like I want it to be functional. I want the spaces to be functional. A lot of homes you see online might be pretty, but like, can you live in it every day? Like is it realistic?
Can my stuff go anywhere?
Right. Like, is there storage? We have girls and they're at home 3 days a week with me. Like, is there space for people to be working in individual spaces? So really what fits your family's daily needs is important to us, I would say. Yeah. And just we want our houses to stand the test of time. So a lot of things in Olive and Oak houses that might be upgrades for other builders are standard in Olive and Oak because We want to build every home as if it were our own and we would want to live in it. Or Josh will tell you, hey, I'm building this home as if my mom were going to live in it. Like, that's our standard. And so if the answer to something is no, we wouldn't live in it, then it's not going to happen in all of an outcome. So, yeah.
No, that's great. For those of you that are just tuning in here, this is Josh and Lacey Jensen. They're the owners of Olive and Oak Homes. And yeah, we're excited to have them on here today. We're just talking about the home building process, what to expect, and just going through some frequently asked questions and just different things to think about if you are thinking about building a home. We do have the Facebook, obviously the comment section. Definitely use that if you have any questions. Definitely post them in there. And then when we see them come through, we'll address them when we can here. But otherwise, we're just going to kind of continue down kind of our list of questions, what we have. And so the next thing is so how do I find the right location and lot and let's talk a little bit about covenants and where to look for lots. So kind of group all that into one. So where do I find lots? How do I know, how do I find the right location? And then let's talk a little bit about covenants and where that plays into in a lot of new subdivisions.
Yeah. I think that it depends on the individual or the couple. Like Josh and I love to drive around and look at land and what's out there. I mean, I know that's like the industry we're in, but even before, like, we just enjoyed doing that. That's how we found the lot where we live on now. So if you like to do that, like, and educate yourself, that's one way to do it. If that's not you, or you don't have the time or the desire to do that, you probably need a realtor, say, hey, this is what I'm looking for. This is what I want. This is the area I want to be in. So yeah, there's kind of two paths, or, it's kind of up to the individual, in my opinion.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think once you identify an area get a hold of those covenants. And sometimes they're really easy to find. If you are looking at the Grove in Ankeny and you go on ATI's website, you can find their covenants. You can find, the plat map. You can see what's sold. You can see pricing. Sometimes that's harder to find. And that's when you need to have a real estate agent go out there and just start contacting that developer and find it that way. Mm-hmm. And then those covenants are going to tell you, a lot of times they're going to tell you your square footage. They're going to tell you some exterior requirements that are there. They're going to talk about dues for the HOA. And so just all of those things to be aware of. There's also a lot of smaller items, but those are probably the big ones that I come up with. I'm not sure if you've got other ones that kind of come up as well.
Yeah, I mean, the big ones are, definitely the size of the home you can build. Mm-hmm. Is one that we run into a lot. Someone has a budget and their budget only allows them to build a 1,300 square foot ranch, which we've gone through this, but it happens quite a bit. But the minimum in that subdivision you can build is a 1,600 square foot. So before you go obviously down the road too far and then get your heart broken towards the end because you can't build your house, it's very important to kind of think about that up front. Some have even, which most people think it's just townhomes, but there's some HOA or some subdivisions that have like pet restrictions, fences. Obviously, most of them don't allow trailers and stuff like that to be parked outside. So definitely important to look at those, make sure that you don't build a house and then realize, one, you didn't build it to covenants, that'd be really bad. Or two, you can't do something there that you wanted to do, pools or basketball hoops. I mean, just stuff like that too. So just stuff to think about with those. So covenants, definitely a big step before you start digging, but even before you get much into drawing plans and all that, you're going to know what we got to do, how much stone has to be on the outside of a home, how much, the architectural styles, stuff like that.
Yep.
So, well, good. And then, so based off that, so let's talk about the other thing to do, just kind of going on the next one is, what does buildable width mean? So if we're talking about buildable width, someone wants to build a house, like, how do we know if that house is going to fit on a lot?
Yeah, so those you would find on the plat maps provided by the developer. Again, we've been in the Grove a lot lately, so I've been on their website a lot lately. But if you go to ATI, the developer's website, they'll have the different plats and it'll show the lots and it will say on there, like, how wide your home could be. So the buildable width means how wide can my house be? And you can't go past that.
Yeah. And then when you're looking for plans, what a lot of people do, and we do it as well, is look online for plans. And you can find some really beautiful plans that you could never build on most lots.
Yeah.
And so I'd recommend, if you're looking for plans that way, just maybe filter by that buildable width and see what's available. And you might start to realize why in some developments it's a garage door and a front door, and in other developments they're beautiful side load houses that have a great looking exterior, and that buildable width is a really important component.
Yeah, for sure. No, it's great to think about, because I know, when you're thinking about building, a lot of that stuff you just think of maybe just the square footage, but you don't think of oh, this isn't going to fit because the setbacks aren't right or whatnot. And so definitely another great thing to consider there. So now let's talk about just a little bit of a financing standpoint. So from your guys' standpoint, a lot of people will think, okay, do I have to have 20% down? Which is a question I get as a real estate agent a lot, just on buying a home in general. Do I need to get a construction loan? And then what kind of earnest money do we require to build custom homes usually? Obviously, I know that one differs kind of builder to builder and whatnot, but maybe the first two are a little bit more appropriate with the, how much money down, and do I need a construction loan when I'm buying a house?
Yeah. I think I'll let you speak to the money down piece to that, but do you need a construction loan? There's a couple different models when you're building a home that you can use. And a lot of times the builder will carry the financing, buy the lot, and then you'll purchase the home at the end. Most builders are comfortable doing that in developments that they're used to building in, using home plans they're used to building. But if you're going to pick a lot that is really expensive or outside of the norm, or maybe it's a piece of raw ground, and that builder is going to probably be more comfortable with you carrying that construction loan, because if anything should happen, it's on you, the homeowner, with that construction loan. And then that kind of turns into a fee build versus, hey, here's what the price is at the end. And I know with us, if you were to carry a construction loan, inherently you're going to see all the bills really come across. And so that's going to be a different relationship and a different build process. And when we talk to people about that, we ask them, is that something you want in your life? Do you want to have to
worry about those bills?
And do you want to see that? And so most of the time, no, you do not need a construction loan.
No, it's good because I think, and from a construction loan standpoint, so usually if you do a construction loan, you're at some banks out there nowadays can do 10%, but most are 20, 25%. Sorry, kids.
You're good.
20, 25% down, and a lot of people don't have that kind of money. If you're talking even on a $350,000 house, that's 20% of 70 grand that you got to have, versus you guys building that $350,000 house and then them buying at the end. They can put 5% down. It's a quarter of the cost to put down. It's fantastic, but people also have to realize, you're not going to go build a full out custom built home somewhere, because obviously the big thing is, from your guys' standpoint, from builder standpoint, is just the liability that's involved in the deal. And so it's, if it's something that may be hard to sell down the road or something like that, it's going to be quite a bit different from you there. Sorry.
You're totally fine. This is the world we live in now, Ethan.
This is the world we live in. Part of it.
No worries.
So, no, it's good there. I'm just trying to think of other stuff that we haven't hit on yet. So I guess going in now to is building right for me? So how do I know? Actually, I don't want to skip that one. Let's go to the next one. We'll hit on the other one later. But so let's talk about the design process. So what does the design process say? Okay, we're gonna build this house, and we know that, hey, we're committed. We've met with the builder. We've kind of said, let's do this. kind of what are the next steps from there? What's the design process look like typically for you guys, or just in general that you know?
Yeah. So probably I'm going to say, each builder probably has their own process, and that probably looks a little bit different. For us, we're kind of like down the middle. If you know you have a look that you want and we've agreed upon as Olive and Oak that fits with our brand and our style, and you if you want to come to the places and pick everything out with me and make those selections, I'm all for that. If you're this is kind of what I want, and you send me pictures and you want me to go pick that out, that's I love that. That's my thing, my jam. I love doing that. And so
you
I'm
walking the Royal Flooring where there's 9 million options.
Yeah, so
some people are like, give me 3 and we'll call it good.
Yeah, so I try to tell people, they all think oh, I want to go with you. And I'm like, okay, but I just need you to know by the end of this, you're going to be don't plan anything else for the rest of the day, because your brain is going to be fried. And so I try to prep them for that. It is going to feel like a lot of choices. So just be prepared for that. And the more you can be prepared ahead of time, even myself, when we're building spec homes, I have pictures and inspiration so that when I get in there, I don't lose sight of what my
don't go off track,
because there's so much, right? Which is great that they provide all that, but it can also be very overwhelming if you don't go in with a plan. So for us, I try to always have the client know, okay, at least what color scheme are you going with? Or bring me some Pinterest pictures of what you want, so we can kind of funnel our vision and start with that. And we usually, so after we've had the conversation, if you send me pictures and you want to come with me, we'll do that. And I always say, okay, the first time it's just, let's get a feel of what are you thinking for cabinets? What are you thinking for flooring? While backsplashes and bathrooms and all the tile are totally fun for me, it can be really overwhelming for people. So we don't try to start there. We usually start with, what cabinets do you want? Yeah. Do you want, a wood tone or painted? Let's start there, pretty, simple, and work our way from there. And I never say that first meeting, this is not your final decision. Let's start somewhere and give you some time to think about it. And then we'll usually start pricing from that point on, so they can get, we can get closer to, okay, here's where you're at with what you picked. Are we close to where we said we would be in your budget, or do we need to reevaluate those things? And that kind of is our starting point. And usually from there, they'll say, okay, so far everyone's been you go further. You just send us pictures, and or we'll meet and I kind of put the mood boards together of, here's what you picked. This is what it's going to all look like. Do you still like this? Do you want me to switch some other things out? I love doing that. It's fun for me to get to, make the mood boards and send it to our clients and be like, aren't you so excited? This is going to be your kitchen. And I love that part. So that's totally fun for me. So yeah, that's kind of our design process. On the outside of the house, we usually, for outside picks, really try to have that, all those choices made before we start digging in all of those things. We have our Bailey, who draws up all our house plans. I have a great relationship with her. And so I've really learned to tell her, okay, they want these window grills in the windows. So put that on the front elevation picture. Their windows are this color. Their roof is this color. So they can really get an idea of what the outside of their house is going to look like. And so then that makes that selection process a lot easier for the exterior of the home. So yeah, that's kind of. And
if that all scares you,
then you need to build a home or buy a home that's already built.
You might want to buy a spec home.
Yeah.
Buy a new home that's already built. Yes, a spec home. Awesome.
But yeah, too. Also, if you know what you want and you just want me to go and pick it out and bring it back to you, Ethan, like you said, or hey, can you just give me 3 selections? I want a basic 3x6 subway tile on my backsplash. Can you just give me 3 selections? These are the colors I want to go with. I'm totally happy to do that too. Yeah. So yeah, really my heart's desire as a designer is I want you to love your home. And I also just really want it to be something at the end of the day as Olive and Oak owners, and to be proud as Olive and Oak as a company, this is our product and that we're putting out there too. So.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah.
We got a couple questions here. We're gonna go with Tyler here. Anything to point out with the transition of the buyer selling their existing home with regards to timeline of build and financing between existing home and newly built home? Hang on, sorry. trying to digest those. Follow up to my question above, the idea of selling, anything to point out with the Oh, gotcha. So I think Tyler's asking, Tyler, and correct me if I'm wrong here, but just asking if the timeline, like if you have a home to sell, like if you have a house to sell and you want to build one, kind of the transition between that, which can be a tricky thing. I mean, from my side of things as a real estate agent, I guess I'll speak first, Tyler, is that really depends on your lender and what you're approved for. So whether the bank's going to approve you for 2 loans or not, where you could, close on your second one or your new build without building or without selling your other home first is, really a question for a lender on that part of things. But then also from a builder standpoint, obviously you have subject to sale offers. Talk to us a little bit about, obviously those can get a little bit uncomfortable just when you're building a home, but I guess, talk to us a little bit about that. I mean, from my experience, it's kind of hard to do a subject to sale on a custom build or a build to order just because there's no guarantee up until that home's sold. And, but maybe like the experience I have is if it's a home, well, one or two things, either you put down more non-refundable earnest money to kind of hold it. Okay. So we know now if you can't end up buying it, that we can turn around and we have something for it and we turn around and sell to someone else. And two, that going back to that, well, it depends if it's in a desirable location or not. And we can turn around and sell this thing to somebody else if need be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anything else you'd say?
Yeah, I think, I mean, it does factor into, that relationship again. What are those? And I'm going to say, one, who's going to market that home for you? Do you have a real estate agent? What's that price point of that home? I'm going to kind of look at the market of wherever that's at as a builder and go, I think that home's going to move really quick, or man, I don't know about that one. And that does factor in to that earnest money question. If the more uncomfortable your builder is, probably the more non-refundable earnest money is going to show up.
Yeah.
Probably also going to factor into what selections we're going to allow if it's subject to sale.
Probably no crazy colors thrown in there. And
So
I mean, in the best case scenario, you kind of plan it where, we know we are approved for both. Obviously, we don't want to do that. So either one of two things. Tyler, to kind of hit on yours. I mean, for example, mine, when I built mine, we sold our house. I moved into a rental, which is not ideal because you got to move twice, but it was the most comfortable thing for us and our family was to make sure I wasn't going to get stuck with 2 mortgage payments.
Yeah.
Or the flip side is you start the build and then you try to time it where, you might be only in 2 houses for a short amount of time, or you can line them up exactly, which if you can get them to line up exactly, then that's kudos to you. But
that can be stressful for
stressful
the clients and the homeowners, because then we all know, like, everyone, like, they want it done. We got it, like, it can be stressful.
No, for sure. And that's, so to me, the best case scenario, even though it's not fun to move, is to, sell your house and then do that. Or if you're financially stable enough to just, not be in a rush when you have 2 different things to go off of.
Yeah.
So, and then Melissa Rogers is going to join us here real quick. But Melissa had one question too. Another question here. What cities and towns do you build in?
Yeah. So really the Des Moines metro area. Mainly, so far, all of our houses have been in Ankeny, just because that's where people are choosing to buy their lots and live, which has been convenient for us. But really anywhere in the Des Moines metro area.
Yeah. Okay. And I know we've talked to some people about this, just about the acreages versus in-town lots. Let's hit on that a little bit about, I know a lot of people like to, a lot of people want to build on a piece of ground. But let's talk a little bit about what the cost difference can be, because I don't think a lot of people realize that. But what's a estimated, obviously everyone's different, but what do you guys typically estimate if you're going to go build on a raw piece of ground, what we're looking at cost difference versus building on an in-town lot.
Yeah, when you talk about raw ground and rural locations, the big items are water, septic, and is the lot developed? Meaning, is it ready to accept a home? Is there going to be a lot of dirt work, driveway work, tree removal, grading? So I'd say at a minimum, you're probably looking at an additional 35,000 with septic, water, and some grading to go to a rural undeveloped lot. If you can find a rural acreage lot that's developed, there's not a lot of them. But that really helps that situation. You may still end up on septic, but water's at the curb, the power's right there, the lots are graded so that they can accept a home. And so, yeah, I think that's, we love acreage lots. We live on an acreage. I love helping people site plan and think about doing acreage lots, but there is a large cost one there.
Large cost.
Well,
that's leading to the other thing. Yeah. Leading to that thing, or that the other side of that is some people look at city lots and think, well, why is that acre lot there in town $120,000?
Yeah.
It's because you have all that stuff there to tie into it. So you're not going to buy, you go and buy a $60,000 lot outside of town. I mean, you're easily up to $100,000 almost to develop that lot.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't realize that. They just see, wow, that's an expensive acre, expensive half acre, whatever it is. And there's in the street, obviously you have the street costs, the driveway cost. I mean, so there's a lot of stuff that goes into rural versus city lots and building and stuff like that in there. So we'll kind of leave it. This will be the final one, and then we'll kind of hit on Raj. Roger's joining us. Him and I are working on a project together in Huxley. I guess I don't even think you guys have met. So Lacey and Josh, this is Roger Wheeler.
Nice to meet
we
you.
work together.
Hey guys, I've heard a lot about you. Good work.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So, but how do people, well, hang on, I forgot my question now. Okay. Is building right for me? How does somebody know? Obviously everybody's different, but what are the main things you think about? Like, if you think about, okay, these people are going to build a house, like how does someone know if building is the right idea for them versus buying a resale?
Yeah. Or a spec house, right?
Yeah. Or a spec house. Yeah.
You can buy our spec houses.
Yes.
Yeah. I think really it goes back to make sure you're a person who's comfortable having a relationship with your builder, because it is going to be a relationship. You're going to be working with them daily. Are you someone who wants to make decisions? Do you like making decisions? Or if not, are you comfortable with someone else making those for you up to a certain point? And then, of course, always being okay. Like, you kind of have to know your personality. Are you okay with some unknowns of things, right? Like, obviously, if you buy an existing home, a spec house or previous existing home, what you're getting right up front. You can see the house, the price, all of those things. There's always we can give you this is a general guideline of what we think it's going to cost, but there are always unknowns, obviously, too. So you have to be kind of okay with that. What would you say?
Yeah, I think it comes down to some people's personalities. If the thought of making a bunch of selections or a lot of decisions or reaching out to a lot of, the real estate agent, the builder, if that seems like something that would bother you or you don't have time in your schedule for, then look at existing homes. And have an initial meeting with a builder. And if that just didn't feel right, that might not be the right route to go. Not everybody's going to build a new home, and that's good, because I think, for every new home we sell, everybody's got to be moving an existing home for the most part. So,
yeah, no, I think that's great. And like you said, I think you hit it nail on the head with some people's personalities just aren't meant to, yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
it can be an anxious process. It can be
Yep.
it can be a stressful process if you don't have it, the right people in your court, at least. With the right people in your court, I believe it can be a very smooth and nice process. But there are unknowns and there are timeline. I mean, timelines can change and stuff like that with a new build from ground zero versus a spec home and stuff like that. So,
Yep.
Well, I really appreciate you guys jumping on here and sharing all that with us. We're, like I said, excited to be working with you, excited for what's to come, and all of your guys' knowledge, many years of your guys' insight, knowledge, and building there. So, now we're going to jump. Do you guys have anything else to add before
Thank you.
We're good. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much.
You betcha. Yeah, thanks for staying on. You guys can stay on here too, but
Yeah.
so I'm gonna share my screen here, and we're just gonna go over. So these are just some other things that Josh and Lacey shared with us that we kind of hit on already, but just being honest with your builder, knowing your wants and needs, know your timeline, all that kind of stuff. So timeline's another one of those things that plays into, I mean, do you have the time to build versus should you go buy a spec home that's already done and stuff like that too. Just the state of the market. Just one thing we continue to kind of pound our head on: does a recession mean that it's a housing crisis and the housing market's going to tank? No, it does not. And we've talked about this in our last ones, but just like to remind people that, 3 out of the last 5 recessions, actually home prices appreciated in value. And in 91, they barely depreciated. So not much there. Obviously, 2008 was was led by the housing market, which is why that one took such a hit there. But a recession does not mean a housing crisis. Housing market is positioned to help our economy recover. So we'll go into this one here. So we've hit on this once before as well, but just another, just another reminder that, I mean, when you go and buy a home, you fuel the market. I mean, you fuel the economy by doing that. And actually, when you think about it, when you buy a new construction home, it has, this one says it doubles it actually doubles the impact when you buy a new construction. You think about all the people that it takes to build and to employ on a new construction home. If you're building a home, you're helping employ a lot of people. That money is getting dumped back into the economy, which those people are then going to spend that at places and stuff like that. So building a home, buying a home can help the economy recover and bounce back on there. So it's just the average economic impact of one home sale by state. Iowa looks like 56,000 on that. So now we'll jump into Roger. Rod, let's talk a little bit about Westview Heights, what Westview Heights is, what we have going on here, and just for people listening, why it might be a great option for some folks.
Yeah, very good. Thanks, Ethan, for having me on. Westview Heights is the latest development done in Huxley by the Jensen Group. And that is a meaningful thing. Some of the best housing in Huxley, really, I'd say some of the best housing in Central Iowa was done by the Jensen Group, starting about 20 years ago with Timber Ridge, which people would know as Majestic Oak Circle, where we just sold a house last week, Cedar Lane, Porchlight Drive, those are all Jensen developments, Centennial, Ridgewood, the stuff up by the golf course in Huxley, that's all Jensen Group work. So their latest installment is phase 2 of Westview Heights. And it's a pretty unique development. There's somewhere around 60 lots that are being completed as we speak. We actually just listed those lots this week. But the streets are about ready to go in. We already have some pre-solds done in that subdivision. But some of the things that you were talking about with your builder come into play here because, I appreciate you putting the site plan up there. Actually, if you can see those numbers, the lots start with lot 86, lot 87, 97, 98, those lots on the west side there, on the east side, those are relatively normal city lots, normal 74-foot width, 100 plus depth. good sized normal city lots. And so if somebody's wanting to build a $300,000 to $350,000 custom home, there are lots to do that on, and that's a beautiful subdivision there. But then as you wrap around the exterior of this subdivision, starting in the northeast corner, lot 38, which is over against Highway 69 there on the north side of Huxley. Lot 37 is a big corner lot. That one's actually already sold. Wrapping around the north edge all the way over to lot 25 on the west side. That's actually a 4-acre lot. That's almost unheard of, to buy a 4-acre lot in town. You don't have to worry about septic. You don't have to worry about wells. It's all city utilities, city paved roads. And then you can see going back down south along the west side, you can see there's a park over there on the west. It's not green like it is on my copy, but you can see the pointer there. That's going to be the newest park in town in Huxley. And so it's kind of unimaginable. You can buy a 1+ acre lot that backs up to a park. So just really a full diversity. Anybody who's wanting to build a custom home, whether it's a $325,000 house or a $1.2 million house, Westview has those lots available.
Yeah, no, it's perfect. And I think there's, like you said, there's not very much of that. Sorry, this little guy gets in the way everywhere. I don't know how to, there we go. But yeah, I mean, it's very rare to find these size of lots almost anywhere unless you go out to West Des Moines or something like that. But obviously Huxley being a very desirable area just with its location between Ames and Ankeny and Des Moines, and with easy access with the interstates and highways and all that stuff. It's a growing town, and with some new commercial stuff coming to town as well, it's I think even gonna grow even more, and with great school districts and whatnot. So kind of the highlights on those.
People might have trouble figuring out exactly where that's at from the plat there, but if people can picture the north stoplight in Huxley. So we're a big town now. Huxley has 2 stoplights. 3 stoplights. All on Highway 69. So the north stoplight, which is where Vision Bank is located on the corner there. So this is directly northwest of that stoplight. So literally a person could build a $500,000 house on a 1-acre lot in this subdivision, and they can be on Iowa State's campus in about 12 or 13 minutes. It's that close to Ames. Likewise, they can get on the interstate and be in downtown Des Moines in less than 30 minutes. And that's kind of what the city of Huxley is known for. It's a bedroom community. We have a lot of these great housing options with perfect amenities sitting between Ames and Ankeny, even downtown Des Moines. So just so people know where this is at, it's right on the northwest corner of Huxley. Yeah,
and so the golf course sits over here. Here, and the school sits down here a little ways somewhere, right there, I think. So school's there, and so it's great location and whatnot. But once again, this is Westview Heights Plat 2. This is the overview of it, which I guess I could have shown earlier. But so the golf course is right here. This is current. This is Northview Heights over here. The stoplight is right here, or right over here on this side. But kind of a muddy mess out there right now, but streets will be in. Roger, what about timeline? Someone wants to buy one of these and build, kind of what approximate timeline anyway, pending weather?
Yeah, well, you certainly can't ever make any commitments in Iowa because of weather, so you don't know exactly. All of the utilities are in the ground right now. They're getting ready to start pouring concrete for the streets. I've been told that's likely going to happen in June. Then it wraps up very quickly. So there is no question there will be lots of custom homes going up on Westview Drive this fall. So whether that starts in July, August, September, October, it's all based on weather. But certainly this fall, there will be custom homes going up on Westview Drive.
Awesome. Well, no, this was fun, guys. I enjoyed it. I think some people had some good interaction, and I think. But do you guys have anything before we log off here? You guys have any final words? Anybody have any questions? I'll kind of pop on Facebook here and look and see. But do you guys have anything else to add?
I don't think so.
Sorry, trying to pull up questions, but now all I hear is us replaying in the background. So, let me see. Yeah, I don't think there were any other ones on there. If there are, I can answer them after the fact. But once again, here's our contact information. Myself, Rogers. If you have questions on the Westview Heights development, let one of us know. Those are, actually just went on the market yesterday and today. And then, yes, if you have questions on building, want to meet with Olive and Oak, have any questions with them about different, what areas they do cover, if they might be the right fit for you, and which I think they would be, but obviously everybody's personalities are different. But I've vouched for them that they're fantastic, and we really appreciate them taking the time today to come on here and take time away from the girls to take an hour and do this for us. And so thanks a bunch, and thanks guys for jumping on. If anybody has any questions, definitely just you can direct message us, you can call, text, email, any of us. We're happy to help, and then or just comment on this video and we'll get those questions answered. So enjoy the rest of your evening. Thank you guys very much, and we'll talk to you later.
Thanks,
Thank
Ethan.
you.
Nice to meet you, Roger.
Yeah, you guys too. Thanks, E.
See you guys.